Ah yes, good old Ocarina of Time, a classic. Well, but today I'm gonna tell you a little bit of a different story about how this game affected me and my childhood. So the whole thing started when I was really young, so around maybe 10 years old, and my brother just he got the new GameCube, so I was lucky enough to get the old console he has, which happened to be Nintendo 64, and I was hyped for it. I was like, finally I can get my first console and I can play games all day. Well, yeah, that's kinda how things started. So I got his Nintendo 64 and also his previous save actually in Ocarina of Time. And I was like, oh, let me play that game. Because why not, right? We have it. And so I booted it up and was greeted with Kokiri Forest. A really lovely green forest. Well, that's not much more to say, is there? Yeah, it was really cool, and I had some items because he already played, but for some reason he logged off in Kokiri Forest, so I was, I guess, stuck there for a little bit. But it turns out I played a lot of hours in this game, and I never actually left Kokiri Forest. The main reason? Well, the skeletons. You see them here. Really scary, hyper-realistic, red glowing eyes, and they're infinitely spawning, and they're in the way, and as a little kid I was really scared of them. Actually, I had like years of nightmares about these skeletons, and they were kind of the bane of my existence back in the day. They really they affected me a lot. Back then this graphic was amazing, right? It was super realistic and 3D and everything like that. Yeah, so I was super scared about the skeletons, so I never actually had the balls to move past Hyrule Field. Because of skeletons. So why did I even wanted to go somewhere? Well, first of all, obviously, I mean, there's a game to be played, right? But as a kid, I didn't really care about all that. I was just playing the game, just like starting it up and just doing things. There's no like sense of progression or getting stronger or any kinds of that kind of deal. It was just you start the game and you do things, and that was already more than enough. So yeah, so it turns out that I spent many hours in Kokiri Forest just running around doing things. There's not too much to look, obviously, if you like check it out now, but as a child that was more than enough for me somehow. So I was walking around, opening chests, there's like a couple, and of course finding the sword, and yeah, just like going through the bushes and collecting some rupees and seeing the store. There was plenty to look at as a little child. And yeah, because I was so scared of the skeletons in Hyrule Field, I never managed to actually go there. Although I saw my brother playing the game, and I was obviously more safe around it. Like it felt more safe when he was there, right? And I saw him going to Hyrule Castle, and the castle was the place I wanted to be. There's people there, and there's fun there, and there's little games you can play and talk to all kinds of people, and there's a girl chasing a chicken and all these kind of things. I wanted to go there, but sadly the skeletons were in the way. But in the end, like, I didn't really care too much about that, because I had more than plenty fun in Kokiri Forest alone. I know it sounds like super stupid nowadays if you think about, wow, you played like less than 1% of the game and spent all your time there. And the answer is yes, and that's kinda what my main talking point was about that. Besides the stupid story is, games nowadays, I don't know, they, for some reason they don't feel the same. Maybe I'm just like, I don't know, dude, listening to myself, I sound like a boomer at this point, but all this monetization and pay to win and all these like non-stop dramas and scandals and all this kind of thing, really not a huge fan of it. Yeah, and I just kinda when I think back of the story on the story, I'm like, wow. Back then, it was more than enough to just walk around in like a semi-open area. And nowadays, everything is so like, I'm super picky about my games I play nowadays, and I see flaws everywhere, and then it just not making fun for me, or I just buy the game. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna play that sometime, and then it ends with, well, me not installing the game ever on Steam. It has like a big library and a backlog I want to play, but I have free time and look at the games, and I'm like, yeah, sometime. Yeah, it's been like that for a while now, and I don't know, I heard more people that think the same thing. Even though there's all these million and multi-million productions and stuff like that. All this extra work and monetization and psychological tricks they play on you to get every single penny. I just kinda feel comfortable playing good old Nintendo 64 and just checking out Kokiri Forest for, well, more time than, you know, a regular person probably should spend there. Yeah, think about it. Imagine Ocarina of Time would release nowadays. You would get loot boxes, random gear, modifiers, and yeah, probably you can like spend $1.99 to get 200 rupees plus 10 for the first time you buy it. Good deal. 200% value, by the way. Yeah. You see, if you think about the old games, alright? Just go back to the old games and think, imagine if that game, just for example, just take something you really like. That game, imagine that being released today. And then you get kinda the same memes like they do with the Elden Ring, Elden Lord Battle Pass, etc. So yeah, that's kinda it. I'm gonna talk to you guys later.